نعتقد أن هذه الجريمة بحق الإنسانية يجب أن تتوقف.
We believe that this crime against humanity has to stop.
إن اعتراف دولة إسرائيل بكل القرى ال 45 الغير معترف بها في النقب بيعمل اعتراف بأكثر من 6% من أراضي المنطقة. إن اعتراف دولة إسرائيل بكل القرى الغير معترف بها في النقب يعمل اعتراف ب5% من أراضي النقب.
If Israel recognizes all the villages in the Naqab, this would be recognition of only 5% of the total area of the Naqab.
وهذه نسبة ضئيلة جدا خاصة أن أراضي النقب شبه خالية.
And this is a very small percentage, knowing that the lands of Al-Naqab are nearly empty.
تضع حكومات إسرائيل جهودا جبارة لإسكان اليهود في النقب دون جدوى يذكر.
The governments of Israel have been working very hard to attract Jewish population, Jewish people to live in Al-Naqab, but there have not been really successful.
لأن هناك من هم معتذرون من الشعب اليهودي لا يريد أن يبني بيته على أنقاض بيت غيره.
Because there are moderate people within the Jewish people who would not build his house on the ruins of someone else's house.
قريتنا أبيدت 6 مرات في الأشهر الثلاثة الأخيرة وساعدنا على بنائها عرب ويهود ديمقراطيين.
Our village was demolished 6 times during the last few months, and we have been helped to rebuild it by both Arabs and Jews who are democratic.
إن بناء قريتنا وسائر القرى العربية البدوية في النقب هو بناء للحياة المشتركة بين العرب واليهود.
Building our villages in the Naqab is actually building shared life between the Jews and the Arabs in the Naqab.
إن الاستجابة لمطالبنا العادلة يضمن لنا الحياة الكريمة لنا ولسكان اليهود.
Answering our calls and our demands will give justice to both the Arabs and the Jews.
ويقوي التعايش المشترك بين العرب واليهود المبني على الحقوق والاحترام المتبادل.
And will enhance coexistence and mutual respect between the Arabs and the Jews.
أرجو أن تساهموا بإحقاق هذا الحق والاعتراف بقريتنا وسائر القرى العربية الغير معترف بها في النقب إن استطعتم.
I hope that if you have a chance, that you will contribute in getting these rights back and in achieving these goals.
شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful and fantastic presentation, which was basically what happened to the village of Al-Araqib, showing a couple of important historical facts that this village has existed since the late Ottoman days and during the British mandate. And I think that's an excellent presentation that basically shows exactly what happened in July 2010. And hopefully, as you hope, we all hope that Arabs and Palestinians live together, and so that's really our hope. So we are building that, and thanks very much again for that. And now we're going to turn to the last 25 minutes, hopefully, which will present some questions, if you like, and to the floor, to Aziz, to Ismail, to Joad, and to myself. Okay. So, yes.
Just a point, Joad. One of the waves, important waves that you must have that took place in the Negev and Beersheba took place in 1952. And so between 1948 and now, there was another wave in 1952 where Palestinians living in the Negev desert were expelled up north towards Lud, and there were these people are still trying to fight to return. My second point is when you look at what's happening to the Palestinians in the Negev, with the Palestinians in East Jerusalem, with the Palestinians in the West Bank, with the Palestinians in Gaza, who are actually from the same families and the same tribes that the Palestinians in the Negev and Beersheba come from, what is left with the essence of the situation is that for the state of Israel and the Zionist movement, the 1948 war has not stopped. The war against the Palestinian people, the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, hasn't stopped. When you bomb the same family in Rafah and Khan Yunis, and then you chase their relatives out of their houses in Arqi, or you expel Palestinians in East Jerusalem, or you expel Palestinians from their homes in the West Bank.
Just a question?
The question is, we are now reaching a point where you are now being asked as a Palestinian, not just within 48, but now outside, to recognize the Jewish nature of the state, and therefore to delegitimize the struggle of Palestinians in 48. And so rather than go forward, we're going backwards.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. Brilliant presentation. I'll be as short as I can, but I want to make a couple of points. Firstly, that non-recognition is a very powerful weapon, and Jews like to use it because it doesn't involve violence. And what it does do is to create resentment and hate, and that is counterproductive. And I speak from experience because in the little square of houses where I bought a house 15 years ago, in those 15 years, my neighbours don't speak to me. I'm not accepted for various reasons. But the point is that their children, who are black, white, Jewish, Arab, Indian, and so on, play with each other, even though the parents will have very little to do with each other.
Yeah.
As that generation of children grows older, their bonding will be much more powerful. There is much more hope for people to communicate in my square of houses in the future. And finally, where I'm going with this is that I suggest that the answer is not talking about Jews and Arabs as we have been doing all evening, and Palestine and Israel. I would suggest a single state, let's call it Israelistan. Okay? And I would suggest that instead of talking about inequalities, which clearly exist and they are absolutely shocking in my opinion, perhaps your generation, who perhaps weren't around in 1948 to 1965 as I was, but you and your children perhaps will talk to each other as equals, right, Jew and Arab. You will set aside your religion, and love and equality will come first. Okay?
Yeah.
You will then get into Parliament and take over the control of the law and so on.
Thank you
and
very
then
much.
go to your relative synagogues and mosques. And
Thanks
so
very
on.
much. Thanks for the comment. Thank you. Yes.
For Ismail and Aziz, what role do you see international charities or NGOs playing, or maybe specifically British NGOs or something?
And can we get another question? Yes.
Yes, Aziz and Ismail, thank you very much for bringing to us the real reality of what is happening. And we really feel very angry at what Israel is doing. Aziz mentioned crimes against humanity, and that's exactly what they are. These are war crimes. And what can we do legally, either within the Israeli courts, although you say that there's no justice in the courts, internationally, in the international courts, to arrest these guys who gave the orders. I mean, now they're trying to get rid of university thinking here. But what do you think legally?
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll give a brief chance to Aziz and Ismail if you want to react.